The street is where we create. We call it suburbanpreneurship.
Mixing big company resources with an entrepreneurial spirit.
This is Electric People. What's up, friends? Welcome to another episode of Electric People. I had this thought the other day. This is going to be a solo episode, just me, so we'll try and keep it quick. But again, the purpose of these is in a multi-decade career in direct-to-home sales, I've learned a couple things, and had somebody told those things to me earlier on, it might have sped up my development. So hopefully these are helpful for you guys and you enjoy them. A little bit quicker format, and they base themselves just around one concept. So this concept I call why you should never plan your career. So I'll tell you a quick story. I was at Vivint Smart Home. I was probably, 9 or 10 years into my career. So I had started as a salesperson, literally like the first job you can get, just door-to-door salesperson. And I had grown in my career and, had written sales training for the company. I'd become a manager and a regional manager. And so I was overseeing a group of people that ran their own teams. And the way that the summer worked is we'd go out for the summer, we'd work really hard, pretty much make all of our money for the summer. And then when we got back, you'd take a break, you'd start building the team, prepping them for the next summer. And I remember it was November. And in November, I was, there was a sales leader. We were in the middle of like solidifying our leadership team for the next year. And there was a sales leader that had been pretty indecisive and was a little bit heavy, wasn't super happy with where he was at in his career, and just kind of like brooding around a little bit. And I remember I was sitting in my office one day, and he came and sat down and like plopped down in my office, but like with a weight. It was kind of like a plop down. And I was like, "What's up, dude?" And the words he said are, "I'm just trying to figure out my life." And I remember what I said to him, and I had said this to him, like I was kind of helping him make this decision for like what I had felt like was a really long time. And so I was a little bit tired of the conversation. I was a little bit short with him, and I had said, "You know what, man? I don't think you're ever going to figure out your life. I don't think you know what's ahead of you. I think your job is to do the very best job with the opportunity that's immediately in front of you, and it's going to lead you to a road that you can't see right now." Um, and it was one of those moments where I needed to hear that as much as he did. I just hadn't had those words come out of my mouth before, but the ideas and thoughts were somewhere in my head. And I've thought about that a lot since. And part of the reason that I think it was so poignant for me at the time is I was in the middle of a transition myself to solar from smart home. And I had just felt like my career, there's probably another chapter on the horizon. There was this exciting new thing that I thought I could contribute to. And so as I was doing my job, this was something that was processing in the back of my mind. And, you know, I had done a 10-year career. I had a really good job at Vivint Smart Home and, was doing my best to contribute to the company and really, really enjoyed working there. And so when I had said, when I was kind of trying to plan, is this a move that I should do? Should I move forward? What's going to happen? What could it look like in 3 to 5 years? Some of his more like visible, mannerisms and feelings, I was actually feeling a little bit myself. And so it almost sounded like I was talking to myself when I was like, "Listen, dude, I don't think you're ever going to plan your career. I think you do the best job with the opportunity that's immediately in front of you, and it will lead you down a path that you haven't seen, or that you can't see now." And that has been so, so true in my career. So I've thought about that, and I want to maybe explain why. And hopefully, if anybody is feeling that, where you're trying to plan the next 3, 4, 5 years, and that task seems daunting, or if you maybe aren't 100% happy with where you're at and want to get somewhere else, I learned a thing or two about that. And so first of all, if you look at the workforce statistics, especially amongst high earners, most high earners, and they classify high earners as people that make 6 figures or more. So there's a lot of like room in this example, but they'll change careers every 10 to 20 years, which means in like an average, like full career span, you're switching careers 2 or 3 times. So likely that's going to happen. So why does that happen? Well, when I look at like my grandpa's career or my dad's career. It was very common, if you were a career person in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s maybe, to get a job at a place, work really hard, stay there for a lot of years, decades maybe, and then ultimately retire from there, maybe earn a pension, and that's your career. It's a lot more common now with how things change. Think about the innovations that have come during that time period. Technology used to advance a lot slower, 20, 30 years ago. I always tell people that I remember I signed up for social media in my college marketing class. I still remember it was literally 2006, and I got that invite to sign up for Facebook. That was back when Facebook you had to be a college student with like a registered college email account. And I look at that in the last 20 years, how fast social media and connectivity has become not only a massive part of my life, but the way this world works. Then you look at like innovations from like, I don't know, TVs were out in like the 50s to the kinds of TVs that we have now. It's like, okay, that progression happened pretty slowly and it didn't change all that much. Now we have AI, now we have smart devices, now we have autonomous products. Things change a lot faster than they used to. So I believe there's two reasons why you should never plan your career. Again, I hope what this does for you is it helps you work with a little bit more intentionality right now and worry just a little bit less so you can do your best work, trusting that that's the best thing you can do for whatever path you go down that you cannot see right now. So there's two reasons that I feel like planning your career in a way of sitting down and mapping out, I'm going to do this, then this, then this, is a flawed endeavor for today's workforce. Number one, it's likely that the opportunity that you're working in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years from now does not exist yet. Either the product doesn't exist because the need hasn't fully developed or the technology isn't there yet. But if I would have been planning my career when I first got into direct-to-home sales, number one, I probably wouldn't have seen the opportunity in it long term. People weren't earning what they're earning now. The structure in the organization wasn't as established, it wasn't as credible as it is now. There's a lot of like global and market events that have done a lot of really good things for the careers that I've been a part of that I just didn't know was coming. So I might have made a prediction to get into something else. Or you look at like, I don't know, maybe you were going to be a financial advisor and that was the plan 3 years ago. And now you're looking at AI and saying, maybe that's not the move. I didn't know AI was coming, right? And so technology changes so fast now that the needs that you'll probably have a solution for 10 years from now, that need probably doesn't even exist yet, let alone the product, let alone the service to add value there. So don't worry about it, right? What's the next thing is you're not qualified for the next position yet. The version of yourself that you are right now is less evolved. If you do this next, 5 or 10 years, right, or however long you're looking at, it's not evolved enough for the opportunities that are ahead. I had an experience a couple years ago where a venture capital firm from the East Coast contacted me and extended to me an opportunity to run a business for them as a CEO of a business. And it was an interesting experience for me. It was like very flattering. In my head still, if I'm being honest, like I just didn't think of myself as a CEO. No one had talked to me about being a CEO before. And so when it came to me, I was like, wow, like it was a little bit surprising. And they had said to me before, like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've had offers like this before, so we want to talk to you about it. And I was thinking about it and I was like, wow, the me from 3 or 4 years ago would never have seen this opportunity coming because the me from 3 or 4 years ago wasn't the type of person that got opportunities like this. I hadn't gone through the experiences. I hadn't had the successes and failures that uniquely qualified me to put my name on that person's phone as a potential contact to solve a problem for them. So kind of two things. Either A, the opportunity, product, or service doesn't exist yet because technology changes fast, but more likely, you can't see the opportunity that you'll be capable of 3 to 5 years from now. And what's going to make you qualify for more optionality is incredibly high performance in the opportunity that's immediately in front of you. So, this person ended up, making a great decision for careers. They ended up like continuing down the path and now they're running a company. And that wasn't an option when we had this conversation back then. So I'm really proud of them. When I look at my own path, the options and opportunities that I have now, I never could have planned for because I could not have seen the path that I was going to go down. But as I've performed well, so start as a sales rep. When you perform really well as a sales rep, it networks you to other people. You meet a lot of customers, you meet a lot of other high performers. That's going to elevate your thought process, it's going to elevate your circle, it's going to elevate your optionality. It also it elevates your investment opportunities. As you earn more, you see investments that you had no idea existed before because you didn't qualify to make those investments. You weren't the type of person that did things like that then. But you now have a little bit of capital, and you've elevated your association group, and now you associate with other people that have capital and other people that need to deploy that capital in an effort to grow it. So there's a world that you enter into that you didn't see before, that you couldn't have planned for. So then as you make smart financial investments, and as you become a little bit more self-sustained, that and you develop a craft that qualifies you to help and mentor and aid other people's careers. And so then you develop the skill set of leadership. Leadership is the most valuable, most virtuous endeavor and skill to pursue. The ability to help people get what they want, the ability to help people develop and expand. Well, as a sales rep, right, you start to learn that skill because you learn to take care of yourself. But then if you do really well, generally what happens is you get promoted to help other people do the same thing that you did. And it's a completely different skill set. And so then you develop this skill of like how to connect with people, how to communicate with people that may or may not be on your developmental level. You learn how to inspire potential. You learn how to systematize the path for people. Something that might have seemed obvious for you is not obvious for other people. So you learn how to like programmatically instill processes that people can follow to also have success. And then as you become a leader, you get access to more senior leaders that think even in a more unique and a more developed way. The investment opportunities, the circles, the broad exposure, the experiences, you start to travel, you start to see how other people live, and you essentially become a different person. So as the path to doing that is high performance. If you're a sales rep right now, do the very best job with the opportunity that's immediately in front of you. Very quickly get clear on what you're doing is the best opportunity. If you don't feel like this is the best opportunity, do some research or get to what you think is a better opportunity. I would encourage you to spend some time with some of those more advanced senior leaders that have walked this path, because they have a breadth of knowledge of what's out there, and they've chosen to be here and pursue it. That's really valuable. You can speed up your career and your advancement if you can link yourself and get access to those kinds of people. And so the reason that I bring that up is even if you're a sales rep, step number one should be to get to a really high level of income. Sales is the type of opportunity and field where you can materially change your life in 6 months to a year. Drastically different financial situation, drastically different brain function, drastically different associations. As you do that, you become qualified for other positions. Maybe the team that you're on could use your skill set. And maybe right now it's to manage or mentor or help 1 or 2 people, maybe a couple new reps that are coming in. As you perform really well in that, you become more capable. So your responsibilities expand. Your association group elevates. Your access to resources also increases. And this happens more and more and more. So you give yourself a year here, you can materially change your financial and developmental life. You give yourself 5 years of relentless pursuit of the very best opportunity that's immediately in front of you. I promise you cannot, if you were to see the person 5 years from now, after 5 years of relentless pursuit in sales and leadership, you would not even recognize them. They would use different words. They would be the version of you in the future would be associating with people that you don't know right now. You'd be using words that right now you don't use. You'd be managing assets that you don't have currently. So you give that a full career and it takes you to a very, very exciting place. So the purpose of the street, the purpose of this organization is to help people live lives that they're excited about. My advice that might seem counterintuitive is don't plan your career. Get very clear on the very best opportunity and commit to doing the very best job you can with the opportunity that's immediately in front of you, and it will take you to places that you can't dream. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful advice. It's been my experience. It's my hope for all of you. Thank you for tuning in, and let's go out and take these principles and employ them.
If you like what you hear and are interested in joining the team, DM us on Instagram at RunXStreet.
What are you waiting for? Shoot us a DM and let's get going.